Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the launch of FastReactFabric with our partners, Fiber to Fashion. My name is Wesley Ekman. I'm the Global Sales Director for Coats Digital, and I will be one of your hosts today, along with the lovely Silky Prajapati and the masterful Yuganshu Shoni joining me out of India. We will be taking you through some of the highlights of the FastReactFabric application, and the set agenda for today will be covering a few key areas. So number one, who is Coats Digital? What is our role within the industry in helping organizations transform? Number two, what is the industry context behind the kind of release of FastReactFabric? What are those tectonic forces reshaping the way we think about fabric control? Number three, we want to cover off the critical importance and the business impact of not managing fabric across your cutting and buying process accurately. Number four, the team with me are going to be taking you through some of the highlights of the FastReactFabric solution and taking you into a bit more detail so that you can see how simple and easy the application is to use. Number five, we'll be coming out to discuss some of the key business benefits, as well as covering off a minor case study, and then we'll be opening up the session to any questions. What I'm going to do is just drop the cameras for the time being, so we get a lot more real estate on the screen as we go into the introduction. First and foremost, who are we? So as you all might know and recognize, we are part of the global PLC London-listed Coats Group, who is the market leader in thread manufacturing. So as a manufacturer ourselves, we understand the challenges that this industry face, and we are also an organization that understands the imperative of constantly having to change and reinvent ourselves, given that we're over 250 years old. As a global organization, we need to be able to connect our people. We need to be able to connect data to our products. And most importantly, we need to connect to our customers, to hear their voices, to understand the trends in the industry that are driving their decisions, and adjust our organization accordingly. We believe technology is a strategic imperative. It gives you that first mover advantage, so much so that we went out and started Coats Digital. Coats Digital as an organization is the amalgamation of three different technology companies into a single technology business that gives you fashion expertise and technology leadership in the RMG sector. We understand that the last 3 years have been incredibly impactful on us as individuals and on us as organizations. We know some of the big key drivers behind that have stemmed from the inability to move about the globe as normal. We've seen massive disruption in the supply chain. We've seen a reduction in your ability to ship goods and move goods freely across borders. And because of that limitation, we've seen freight costs increasing and shipping times increasing. We know that because of the rise and the knock-on effect of COVID and the bailout policies of many governments, that we've seen rising inflation across the globe. That rising inflation has driven an increase in raw material and labor costs. We know because of the supply chain disruption that many brands, many retailers are looking at different supply strategies, covering onshoring, nearshoring, and standard supply locations, standard manufacturing locations. And with costs increasing, the trend of on-demand agile production has started accelerating with pace. Now, all of these combine, when we look at fabric, into how do you do more with less. With input costs rising, it is not good enough anymore to just simply average out when it comes to your outputs. You have to be an advocate of more clinical approaches and greater control on every input to dictate a profitable output. In essence, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Talking and covering fabric challenges. Why many of you are in the room today. The complexities facing you in having to work both hybrid remote as well as on-site. The increasing costs and the reliance on outdated systems or Excel spreadsheets, and the lack of ability to share critical data, critical insights at the right time to make informed, correct decisions. We understand the pressures on each of you to solve the complex challenges facing you today. And we've broken it down into 5 key areas. Number 1, lack of visibility of buyer trends and having to work with incomplete information and being able to understand what your customers want, when they want it, and how that translates into both your material purchases as well as your production outputs. Number 2, material purchases. Ensuring that you're not just simply working on best guesses, estimates, or historical data, which have traditionally led to over and under purchasing. That impacting inventory, keeping too much stock, or reducing your lead times. In effect, just creating more scenarios for firefighting. Cut planning, traditionally very manual based. Multiple spreadsheets, which are prone to error. They are difficult and time consuming to manage and are only as accurate as the last time you pressed save. This results in planning bottlenecks, and planning bottlenecks impact things like your deadlines. You start missing deadlines, you start having to increase overtime, which means that you spend more time just fixing the problem and solving the immediate issue rather than being strategic and adding value back to your organization. Number 4, cutting execution. Guys, I think long gone are the days where we write down cutting data on the back of cigarette packets. Data is critical to every organization, and the way we curate it, the way we manage it, the way we share it is critical to every step in the process and whether it will be a success or a failure, especially when it comes to how we run the cut floor. And all of these 4 elements combine into how we manage inputs, and where we see the greatest area of opportunity facing you today when you've joined this session on saving raw materials, reducing wastages, eliminating the manual processes involved in every step of the process, so you can be more accurate with what you purchase, more accurate with what you cut, and faster when it comes to servicing your customers' needs. I will be handing over to Silky right now to take us through some of the key highlights of the system that we will be showing you today. Thank you, Silky.
Thank you so much, Wesley. Hello and welcome everyone to the webinar of FastReactFabric. I'm Silky Prajapati, product owner of FastReactFabric, taking care of the buy module in particular. And I'm here to take you through a few highlights of this product. Next slide. So FastReactFabric, what is it? A fabric optimization solution that uniquely connects your buying and cutting operations into a single platform so that you can stop wasting your fabric and time and start increasing profit. Why is it unique that it is connecting your buying and cutting operations? Because I'm sure you all know that currently in the factories, these 2 departments, although they take care of one single entity, fabric, they are still working in silos. And the fact that they can connect together can actually unlock the potential of using data in such a wonderful way that can help you increase your profit. So what you see on the left side is a snapshot of our software. It's a SaaS-based product on cloud, very easy to log in and access. And there are more elements to it, which I'll take you through once I'll go and get started with the demo. Let's come to what you see as the key elements of the product: planning automation, material management, execution automation, CAD integration, dynamic updates and alerts, and most importantly, what you all need, business intelligence reporting. So all these elements we will discuss in the demo of how our system helps you with such deliverables. Next slide. So let's get to a few important foundations of FastReactFabric, something that we strive to deliver every time you are using our product. First, of course, being that it is the one-stop solution for fabric estimation and utilization. The entire picture is incomplete if we just focus on one bit, which is either estimation or its execution. Till the time we don't have a lens to look into both the processes together, it's impossible for us to hit the mark every time. And in the current times, when there are so many styles that we need to deliver in such a short amount of time, it is absolutely important for us to have a solution that can help us visualize what can be done with our own data and hit the mark every time. Second being, of course, speed and accuracy. We want to do it, but we want to do it accurately and in time every time. Because every time we sit back or start doing calculations manually or Excel, we are losing time. And probably we are also losing some bit of accuracy because it's dependent on someone doing it on their own instead of a system who can actually help you visualize a lot of data and tell you what exactly to head for. Number 3, unlock your data. As I did mention in the second point, every day we are running n number of orders on our factory floors, which is helping us generate so much amount of data, which is absolutely invaluable for everyone. That data, if we can capture and use to predict the next time we want to do booking, it is something that can unleash so much visibility, so much clarity, and that confidence that whatever I'll be buying, I'll be able to cut and ship within that amount of fabric, ensuring that neither we waste too much towards the end, nor there is a situation where we are short shipping. And of course, this brings us to the fourth point. What we are doing on a day-to-day basis, how are we trying to really make sure that we are using the data and providing the right amount of feedback to the floor. Everything needs to be captured. Everything needs to be properly demoed in forms of graphs, data, so that I can actually reflect towards the end of our seasons that what we've been doing, what are the areas of improvement, and where I can further strengthen my capabilities as a manufacturer. So aiming on these important points, FastReactFabric will ensure that it gives you a continuous feedback between these operations of booking and cutting, so that eventually you can do factual buying, reduce your wastage. You can predict the forecast using the data insights that we help you visualize as well as track, and eventually what you aim for, which is fabric optimization that can eventually increase your bottom line. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. So as you can see, in this slide, we've covered the basic processes that one has to go through once we get an order confirmed from the buyer, right from fabric booking to planning, then eventually cutting. And in the end, we all need some reconciliation to be able to assess how did the orders go. So now I'm going to share my screen and take you through the first module of FastReactFabric, which is the buying module. All right, so we are going to begin by logging into the module through which you can do booking for Fabric. So going to log in. Now, FastReactFabric, hosted on Microsoft Azure, is an on-cloud SaaS solution, which means that if you have access to a laptop or a computer and a decent internet, you can log in at any time and any place to execute the orders. With MS Azure, we ensure utmost security for your login credentials, factory data, and other sensitive information. So now I'll log in securely using my credentials. Once I've clicked, it is going to authenticate me as a user, and I'll be soon on my landing page. And here we are on the FastReactFabric Solutions landing screen. For most of the users, getting introduced to a new tech or solution can be highly daunting, but need not worry in our case, since we've thought about this and ensured that we provide you not only with a very simple solution, easy to navigate, but a helpful tool that can help you estimate orders effectively. A user-friendly left menu bar that covers all the areas of the software, and a simple right menu bar that you can use to look into your profile and sign out. Now, whenever we onboard any factory, we ensure that the environment in which the factory operates is replicated in the software. We understand the product, the fabrics, customers you deal with, and do an initial setup that contains all parameters that you need to follow to estimate the orders. So if I go and click on one of the execution settings, you can see how we have ensured that all the parameters that you will use to estimate an order are already here. Our aim is to reduce your planning time significantly and help you with accurate estimations every time. As we mentioned before, we do this by uniquely connecting your buying and cutting operations. So if I go and click on this bit, every time an order gets finished on the cutting flow that is run by FastReactFabric, of course, we store the cutting data, including the fabric used, wasted, etc. This data acts as a repository of historical orders for the buying team. Every time the user runs a new estimation for fabric booking, FRF refer these historical data points for intelligent decision making. So if I can quickly show you, just going to run a quick demo order. So that's how you can create an estimation details in just a few seconds. Now, in this case, I do not know the size-wise breakdown yet. And I also have kept the wastage empty in my estimation sheet, since I want FastReactFabric to refer the previous orders and provide me with the data-based wastage percentage. So all I need to do is click on Upload Estimation. I can download the sheet, the format that FRF needs from my ERP itself, and in a single click, upload it in FastReactFabric. Now, while I do this, the system in the background is also looking into the historical data orders and trying to help me with the size-wise breakdown and the wastage percentage. So here you can see that in just one click, FastReactFabric has provided me a size-wise breakdown that you can see highlighted in yellow. I only knew the total quantity and the sizes, but the system helped me to break it down into a ratio that reflects the previous orders that I have executed before. And you can also see the wastage percent that has come from the previous wastage that I have had in the similar styles and products. To do a similar exercise otherwise, you will have to maintain hundreds of Excel files, spend considerable amount of time to search and calculate every time you need to estimate a new buy. With so many styles coming your way every day, with tight lead times and margins, we don't think it's a bright idea to go back to Excels and start digging when you can get what you want in a single click. Now, after this step, FastReactFabric will also give you the cut plans for these orders in a single click. Along with that, it will give you CAD files that you can import into your respective CAD to completely eliminate the manual effort that goes into creating those markers before queuing them, of course. And once the markers are ready in your CAD system, you can upload it back in the system. And in a single click, FastReactFabric will give you an analysis report that will have the final consumption that you need to book the fabric. It has taken the wastage intelligently from the data. It has added all the allowances. The cut plan is a production grade cut plan that has been provided to you based on the settings that we did initially when we had set up the system for you, trying to understand what product you want to run, what is the fabric, what is the fit, etc. Keeping all this in mind, in a single click, you will get an Excel-based analysis report, which will have each and every data point. And you can share this with your peers and your management so that they can know the basis for this estimation as well. There is a download button here that can help you download this in your system. Apart from this, of course, there are another reports that can help you visualize all the orders and all the data points that you've been running so far. For example, the trend analysis report that shows you month on month how many POs you've been planning, how many pieces you've been planning, what's the wastage you are encountering in these. So these are the planned wastage you've been using so far. So if any time you notice a spike, you can always go back, intervene, and try to amend and make sure that we keep refining as we go on. Similarly, there are other reports, key metrics that shows you a variety of data points and understand who are those buyers, which are the products that's giving you the right outcome. Also, along with that, we do have another Excel-based reports that make it easy for you to download all the estimations that you've run from any point in time, be it for weeks or months or even a year. And you can do all sorts of filtering, analysis, sorting of data to understand what's the trend going on and how you can act upon those data points. Something that otherwise you will have to ask someone to sit one day and pull in all the data together that has been running so far, and then trying to visualize what is happening in my factory and how can I improve my performance. So coming back to the estimations that we just finished, once we have completed that, we can always freeze it. And once we are confident, we can send the final estimated consumption to the cutting module by clicking on this send to cutting button, in which I can select the factory where I want to send this order and click send. So now the cutting team will have access to this entire order that we have just executed, along with the final consumption that we have estimated from this module. With this, I now transfer the call to my colleague Yuganshu Soni, who will take you through the cutting execution of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Silky, for taking us over to the buy module, and let me take you all through the cut module. So I am Yuganshu Soni, product owner for FastReactFabric cut module. So sharing my screen. So here is the planner's dashboard. Here you can see all the quantity and fabric related KPIs, like what are the running orders, what are the fabric used and what is the fabric saving in length, dollar, and percentage. Also, you can see your achievable quantity and your actual delivered quantity. In the bottom part, you can see the work queue list, where you can see what are the work items pending for your factory, and you can see the running system updates. Here you will get all the notifications and at every event that your layerman or your supervisor do into the system. You can go to the side menu, and here you can see all the navigations that system offers. So let's go to the estimation screen. Here you can see the estimation that Silky just shared to cut. You can select this order, click on create order. You can give a custom name, for example, estimation order 43, and click on next, select the main part and click on save. This will create a new order for you that will have all the details of your estimations. To see that order, you need to go to order screen. Here you can see the order we have just created. So for example, let's go to other order, that is the cut order that I have already entered the values, so you can see it clearly. So in this order, you can see all the order parameters with style number, fit, customer, season, product, and remarks if you want to add something. So the details of this order comes from buy. So that will reduce the data entries, and it is an automated process. So you don't need to enter size-wise quantity or consumptions again into the system. But if you want to change something, you have the ability to change it at this moment. So in the second section, we can see the quantities, the size, the fabric association, the consumptions, and the size-wise quantity. You can click on save changes. The next section is your fabric. Here you need to create your fabric groups that can be used to complete your lace. So for example, I have created one group, G1, with a width of 1.5 yards. And to add fabric into these groups, you need to click on add role. Here you can add multiple roles by manually entering in this grid, or you can select an Excel file that should contain all your role information. Once uploaded, you can see all the roles in this section. So for example, here we have 12 rows reserved particularly for this order with shade A and width of 1.5 yards. So the next section comes up is your cut settings. The cut settings is basically the settings of your floor and according to your fabric, whichever by which you want to limit your number of plies or number of pieces in markers. Once you have adjusted that, you can click on save changes. And then the next section, you can run a cut plan. So the cut plan will provide an intelligent and efficient solution out of thousands of possible combinations of your sizes within few seconds. So here it is. It provides us 4 markers with this ratio and this number of plies. You can select this cut plan, and the system will break down the markers into multiple lays according to your cut settings. And now you need to send this ratio details and the width details to your CAD system, and the CAD will provide you the marker length of these planned markers. For example, the first marker comes up of 7 yards on 1.5 width, and second one is for 6 yards on 1.5 width. So this grid is really useful, and it works as an Excel sheet. You can navigate through your up and down keys or right and left arrows, and then you can click on save changes. So now we have the marker details with length and width. Now we know how much fabric it needs, and then we can allocate the roles to these markers or these lays. So for example, in this case, we have 2 markers with their details and 2 lays planned, L1 and L2, and we know how much fabric they would need according to the marker length. So the user just need to select these lays click on run allocation, and the roles available in your fabric pool will get allocated to these selected lays. So the allocation will be in such a way that your number of end bits would be minimized. If you see again in this window, now system has suggested that these 3 rows with these number of plies should be spread for this lay to minimize the end bits generation. Okay, so now comes the second user of this system, that is the supervisor. So let me show you the supervisor quickly. Here it is. This is the supervisor's dashboard. So supervisor's job is to assign lays to the available layerments so that he can manage the capacity of the floor and the floor and tables. So here in this dashboard, you can see the statuses of lays. For example, 21 lays are started on floor. So the 21 tables are still working. And 31 lays are assigned on floor, which means 31 lays are in the queue. And 169 lays needs to be planned. So these lays are planned by the planner, but needs to be assigned on the floor. So let's go into this. Here you can see the order we have just created. And I can select the layerman as per the requirement to these particular lays and click on Save Changes. And now the third role comes up, that is the layerman who will complete these lays. So this is the layerman's application. Here you can see all the orders and all the lays assigned to this particular layerman. And on the top one, we have the recent order. So the supervisor just assigned the lay 1 and lay 2 to this particular layerman. And if he wants to start a lay, he just needs to click on this play button, click on play, and this is done. So on this screen, he can see the lay details, lay number, the marker details, and the lay parameters in terms of marker width, marker length, end loss, and lay length. Okay. And then lower side, he can see all the allocated roles according to the role allocation. For example, this COR2 role is planned for this lay for 12 plies. So the layerman just needs to click on edit button and the actual entry window will pop up. Here he need to enter the actual data that is spread on the table. For this lay, system has suggested 12 plies. So let's say 12 plies were spread, and according to after spreading those 12 plies, system has suggested then 179 yards and 11 inches of fabric would be remaining after spreading these 12 plies. But what if there are some end bits? For example, let's say there is an end bit of 7 yards and there is an end bit of 7.5 yards. And similarly, an end bit of 8 yards. And you can see here these, and according to these end bits, you can see that your left length is getting auto calculated. And you can also enter the damages. For example, there was a 2 yards of damage and a 1 yards of damage bit. And accordingly, you can see your length is getting updated. And then you can save your roll data and go to the next roll. And this one has 37 plies planned. And after spreading 37 plies, system suggested there would be 0 yard and 33 inches remaining. So let's say the layerman measured the remaining fabric and it got to know that it was 1 yard. Right? So then system will calculate what is the excess of your roll. So here it suggested that 0.072 yards are in excess, and you can save this whole data. And similarly for the third allocated role. After completing all the planned roles, he can save this list. Okay. Now, when he goes to the second lathe, the L2, start the lathe, it also has some roles allocated according to our plan. But he can also see what are the suggested end bits. For example, in the last lathe, we generated 7.5 and 8 yards of end bit, and the system has suggested those, right? System is suggesting that these end bits should be used because they are greater in length, and this lathe can accommodate those end bits. So if you use those end bits, that will come under usage, and it will reduce your wastage. Let's go to the planner again. And here the planner can see all the updates that is going on. For example, this lay 1 has been completed with 93 plies, and he can see the role-wise summary. It is displaying that these roles are being used with updated present length, updated use length, and updated unaccounted, the shortage or excesses. Right. And then this data can be seen into the reports. For example, in Fabric reconciliation report, you can see an detailed overview of your fabric usage and delivered quantities. Here you can see your order data, your quantity data, your consumptions data, and the fabric data in terms of used in markers, used in trims, wasted in part change, wasted in end loss, and then what is left with you, what are the savings, and the total damages, and overall summary. And in the other report, you can see your marker plans. You can see your lay plan, lay-wise L1 and 12 and L3 with the ratios and the status. And in the below part, you can see your markers. All right, and once this order gets completed, user can mark this order as complete. He will click on it and click on this button to complete this order. And after this, all the fabric usage and damage or wastage details will be sent back to buy, and that will be used in your historical data. So that is the cut module. And let me hand it back to Wes to discuss the business benefits. Over to you, Wes.
Thank you, Yuganshu. So to recap for the audience, buy with accuracy. Key features: 360-degree feedback loop, a complete loop between your cutting and your booking, helping you accurately estimate all of your fabric requirements for new buys. We allow you to integrate into the CAD of your choice, so you're able to seamlessly automate the process of marker making and reduce the manual intervention that is required. We provide you with the ability to do estimation versions. That is the ability to run provisional and actual estimations, and then finalize the version for your booking and cutting. Intuitive reporting, critical to any organization, helping you identify the critical areas of your business, of your process, and keep you focused on what matters most to make the right decisions. Speed and accuracy, the ability to use big data to ensure faster and more efficient turnaround times, and lead times, thereby enhancing your capability into your manufacturing process. Cutting with confidence. Some of the key features that we've showed you today: role allocation, the ability to allocate roles efficiently, maximizing your fabric width and length whilst minimizing your end loss. The system uses intelligence to do in-bit suggestion, helping you save fabric by suggesting intelligent ways to use eligible end bits to the upcoming lays and saving fabrics in the roll form. We give you the ability to do fabric transfers, allowing the user to transfer fabric lengths from one order to another and increase your fabric utilization. Again, alerts and notifications, such as an inflection alert, and the ability to give you replanning to help you manage end bits when they're available to meet the fabric requirements and provide you with a revised and accurate plan. And best of all, it integrates into your ERP so that we are able to help you reduce those manual entries and focus on what matters most. If you don't believe us, believe some of our customers. Epilion, incredibly large manufacturer in Bangladesh, working for M&S, H&M, Next, and S. Oliver. So lots of complexity, lots of different styles. They have over 18,000 employees and produce 92,000 pieces daily with over 111 sewing lines. When we started with our engagement, they were challenged and struggling with fabric estimation and managing their consumption because of the lack of time that they had. They had a completely manual booking process, which often led to human error and delays, which in effect created a consumption gap between their booking and their cutting processes. Their booking data repository had no intelligence. It was on a number of different Excel spreadsheets managed independently across the business. So no single source of the truth, and reduced capability of collaboration across key people and key departments, which meant that at the end of the day, there was overbooking due to the incorrect estimation of material consumption and a failure to capture the end loss in consumption. Upon implementing our solution, we were able to use our AI engine to give them more improved ratios and cut plans with their auto queue of markers to accurately plan 100% of their quantity. We were able to automate their fabric booking and identify and reduce that gap between booking and cutting consumptions. We enhanced their ability to do reporting and help them focus on things like trend analysis and verify their end loss value and give them accurate fact-based fabric estimations. What were the business benefits? A 70% automation of their fabric booking process. Accuracy in fact-based estimation for their bookings, as well as a 2% reduction in their fabric buying cost, helping them not just be more efficient, but be more cost-effective. In recap, the business benefits and ROI of FastReactFabric is to help you optimize your purchasing and provide you with the tools for cutting excellence, controlling costs, controlling end bits, controlling your end-to-end process, making your entire cut buy for your fabric completely visible and completely efficient. Best of all, we have a rapid implementation methodology. In under 4 weeks, we can go from completely manual-based processes across buying and cutting within your business to a fully structured, automated, and systemized, organized cut room buying process that saves you time, saves you money, and helps you become more efficient in your industry and within your country. And now we will open up to questions. All right, good, everybody. So a few questions I see on the Q&A. So if there is anybody who has a question, we've got the Q&A chat box at the bottom of the webinar. Please feel free to post some of your questions in there. I'll jump into it in a second. So let's start from the top. The first question, though, by Rana: will the recording of the webinar be shared? Yes, there'll be access to the recording after this. There is another question. I see, Silky, if you are already answering it. Not clear on how estimations are done. Where are the plies and ratios? Silky, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sorry for the hiccup, Wesley. Yeah, sure. As I answered in the chat as well, since we have limited time here, so obviously everything was not covered in the demo. So we can always connect later to.
Oh, we've lost your sound. Oh, we lost your sound there for a couple of seconds. Apologies. Could you just recover that?
Yeah, I did mention in the chat as well. And since the webinar is of a limited time frame, I did mention that if anyone wants to understand how the cut plan generation happens in the FRF, they can always connect us later and we can show them in a separate demo.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. We'll be posting our contact details after this. So let's take a few extra questions here. So Anuradha has posted a question: how can the system deal with role shortages?
So, okay, I can take that up. In the cut module, when the layer man is actually doing the fabric laying and automatically FRF tracks that against what you had thought the length would be. It would let you know towards the end whether there was some roll shortage or excess. So that's how you can know in the real time what is the situation on the floor. And obviously we need to deal with that. But the good part is towards the end, we can always have a reconciliation and we can go back to a supplier stating that this is the amount of shortage we've been receiving so that they can be more careful next time. And internally, of course, we know with which fabric suppliers to deal with who are actually sending us the right amount of fabric.
Okay. Excellent. Sure. We are getting quite a few questions, so everybody be patient. We're coming through this. Again, I don't know if you want to just come back onto screen as well. So the big question here by Chana: are we able to control shades in the fabric, capture shades?
Yeah, Wes. Hello, everyone. Let me take this up. So, Chana, yes, once you have your fabric rolls 100% inspected, you enter those details to the system through an Excel upload or through your ERP. And that can be grouped according to the shades. And by this, you can allocate similar shades into a single lay. And that role allocation feature provides you additional setting that includes if you want to allocate your roles shade wise, then you can select that setting. Hope that clears up.
All right, excellent. Ipshita Patara, you've asked the question: what is the cost of membership? So I assume that is, what is the cost of the application? So every application is tailored to your unique requirements, depending on how you want to set it up, how many people need to be trained, how many factories you want to implement against, and we will be putting contact details after this so that you can come through, we can engage with you, and we can do some dedicated demos and engagements with you and your organization, understand your unique requirements, and then we'd be able to provide you with some pricing. Another question from Govindan. So is there any trial version available to check and learn more? So we are working on a trial version at the moment. We can, meet with you again in a similar answer in understanding your requirements. So this isn't a system where you can just subscribe online and suddenly you have the functionality. It does need to be implemented. It does need to be tailored to your specific requirements, but we can help you evaluate the validity of it within your organization. Okay, good. So, Sacintha, do you allow clubbing of POs to create a market plan?
So yes, this feature is also available. You can club multiple POs together to utilize your fabric even more better with a combined plan. Yeah, that is doable in the system.
Okay, good. We've got a lovely question from Nipun. What is the average time taken to complete 3,000 POs?
So if we are trying to say that we are trying to estimate 3,000 POs to quickly find out the consumption that we will particular takes care of requirements like these, and on a very rough basis, I can say that the system has a capability of doing roughly about 1,000 orders in about an hour. And obviously it depends upon certain requirements, some settings that are very particular to your factory, which might increase or decrease this time. But yeah, something around an hour for 1,000 is something that we are quite proud of in the sense of the time and accuracy bit that we just talked about in the buy module.
Thank you, Silky. I mean, to build on to that question, as organizations, we do deal with an extraordinary amount of requests, purchase orders. And the real question back to the audience is, how long would it take you to do 3,000 orders? Systemization improves that level of capability and efficiency. Okay, good. So let's have a look here. What is the cost of the project and how does it work? So we've covered that off. So it's saying Gurav has come through. We want to run a demo on our past data. Please advise us on what details you need and what opportunities or advantage we can gain from the Fast React cut section. So again, yes, once we start working with you and your teams, we go through quite a bit of detail. So we dedicate almost a half a day and we send consultants to come and work with you, understand your data, understand your processes, understand everything about your business, and then we will guide you in terms of what information that we need, and we would be able to incorporate some of that into a demo as well as a return on investment analysis. Okay, good. So here's a fairly technical question. So when the end bits are planned, they are done so on the projection of roll end lengths. If a roll is negative in length, that would mean my planned end bit may not be long enough. How do you plan for this? And I saw you, Ganshu, you were already answering that question.
Yes,
if you mind taking it up.
Yeah, so there can be, like, the actual entries can be different from the plan, right? We don't know the actual roll lengths. There can be shortages or even excesses. So to cater this, if you got any damage in between it, that created an end bit, and definitely that will affect your role allocation. But you have the option to refresh your plan. You can reallocate the roles. The system then rerun the planning, rerun the algorithm, and see what are the how my fabric pool is looking now, and then you can get the appropriate plan. So system is completely flexible to your floor changes, and that provides each and every feature for that.
Yeah, fantastic. I see the question there from John Wang. Thank you for the question, John. How does the factory frontline team interact with the system during their day-to-day operations? So they've given options of RFID, barcode, cell phone camera, or laptop input. So guys, remember, this is a completely mobile solution. It's software as a service. So there is no hardware you need within your organization, nothing that you need to maintain. So in effect, this is accessible of any web browser, of any device that can access that web browser. So you can make use of mobile phones, you can make use of tablets, and obviously you can make use of laptops across the factory floor. So you have that flexibility as well as the mobility to move and interact with the system as you work on that factory floor. We've got some recommendations on approach, but again, it's very specific in the choices you want to make as an organization. So the large majority of questions seem to be about implementation, seem to be about ROI, analyzing your own data, how do you access the system, what devices you need to access of the system, and how will it fit into your organization? Where is it going to make the biggest kind of level of impact? So, you know, we're incredibly proud, and we've done a lot of work behind the scenes to ensure that we are linking your cutting room to your buying and your buying to your cutting. So in effect, you've got this closed feedback loop that helps you understand your performance and your efficiency, reduce your inputs, but simultaneously feed back into purchasing so that you can buy with a lot more accuracy. And ultimately, ensure that you have a single source of the truth for both teams to be concentrating and working on. Reduce the time it takes to manage fabric within your business, reduce the wastage that fabric brings within your organization, which means that you'll be saving costs on your raw materials as well as the time it takes to drive that management. How do you engage with Coates Digital as an organization? So I'll be kind of sharing a slide here. We'll be covering off, give me 1 second, everyone. How do I get back there? Let me just reshare my screen. So, or you can shoot, just let me know when you can see my screen here.
We can see it, yes.
Great. So everybody, as you can see, we've got a web address for there, which is marketing, or email address there, which is marketing.coatesdigital@coates.com, or you can email me directly, which is wesley.ekman@coates.com. And we'd be happy to set up another engagement with you and take you through the application. Today was just a little taster, and it seems that there's been quite a lot of interest, which is really exciting for us. And hopefully we have the opportunity to speak with you, to meet with you, to engage with you in the up and coming weeks and take you through a fully immersive experience in FastReactFabric, both on the cutting side and on the buying side, and be able to kind of answer all of these questions in a lot more detail. As they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So number one, we want to make sure that we can get down to the real nitty-gritty. What are you guys actually battling with? What are the scenarios that you are facing on a day-to-day basis? And how can we support you in driving a lot more efficiency and cost control within your business, within your organization, and within your department? Should we take, yeah, excellent. So we want to just thank everybody today for attending. We really appreciate you giving us so much of your time. We know that you're all very, very busy. Just want to thank Silky and Yuganshu for spending so much time and effort and investing in building that interactive demo. We genuinely look forward to meeting you all in the future, and thank you to our partners, Fiber to Fashion, for hosting us today. And yes, enjoy the rest of your day today.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.